Hi, we're Gareth and Julie. Welcome to our channel, Adventures in Anth.
Yeah, the reason for the Anth is my dad was Tony, but spelt with a H, Anthony, and we all called him Tony or Tone. But my gramps always pronounced the H for some reason. He was always Anth, and no one else called him Anth other than my gramps. So it's kind of a tribute to my dad and my gramps, who sadly are no longer with us. So we decided to call him Anth Adamo. He's a Bailey Adamo 75 4i model.
So we started motorhoming in 2014 when my dad passed away, left us a bit of money to start us off. We purchased our first motorhome called Bruv. We had him for 2 years, and then because our girls were younger and they came away with us, we decided to switch to a caravan, so we had the car to explore areas when we were pitched up. 2022 we purchased this motorhome, didn't we? And had to wait for the backlog of lockdown, and Gareth will explain obviously why we were drawn to this motorhome in particular, because when we purchased our first motorhome, obviously we got the wrong layout and rushed into it a bit, but after experience and research, Gareth will explain obviously why we've come up with the Bailey Adamo 75 4i.
Yeah, we, like you say, we bought the wrong. We were kind of drawn to the fact that it was like £6,000 cheaper than anything else I could find. The first motorhome we had, the Tribute, and I spoke to Newport Caravans and said, why is it so much cheaper? And they were very upfront. They said it's a 2013 model, but it'll be registered as 2014, and that's why it's so cheap, basically, because they needed to get rid of it before they started paying finance on it. So I kind of got a bit blinkered with that and didn't really do my research on the layout and whether it was a bed we had to get in and out all the time. And it was great. We really enjoyed it, didn't we? But it wasn't the layout for us. So the next time when we bought this one in 22, we made sure we prioritize what we needed, which I would say is a tip for anyone. There's so many different layouts.
Do your research.
Use YouTube. We didn't use YouTube, you know. But the main 4 reasons we went for this Adamo, starting from the front, the automatic gearbox. I got some ankle problems, so like taking the left foot out and using the cruise control with the auto box is brilliant. Perfect. We drove what was it, 222 miles from Cardiff to where we are now, just waiting to go across on the channel, and it was brilliant. So the auto box was one. We loved the lounge layout of a caravan. You can lounge out more in it, and I wasn't a big fan of the upright church pew type seats that you have in most motorhomes. They're great for traveling and great, you've got the extra seat belts, but I just find them really upright when you're lounging. So this particular model, and there were other models who were doing it, they've got the agouti seats that are stowed away, and you just bring them up when you need them, basically. So you've got, well, you see both of us are on here.
Full lounge.
You've got a pretty big lounge, more like a caravan type of lounge, I would say.
We'll do a separate video on the whole layout and the motorhome, won't we? But
so that
was what drew us to this particular motorhome. The lounge, we like the lounge in the caravan, and now obviously we got the lounge in the motorhome. So
yeah, there's a compromise, as there always is, in that when the seats are stowed away you lose storage, so it's worth factoring that in yourselves if you need a lot of storage. We wanted a full shower, so we started looking at the like continental type bathroom that runs along the van from side to side rather than running along the side of one of the walls. It does seem to work for us. This style is more, I think it's more of a continental style of, but you can sort of enclose it off, so you can have the bedroom completely enclosed. The door doubles up as a toilet door and a door to close off the whole shower room. So that works for us, and we've got a full-size shower. And the other one, we liked the island bed, I know everyone doesn't particularly like the island bed because it takes up so much room, but we wanted it, and it was primarily it's just the two of us. But we've got some big-ish sort of e-bikes, so a big garage was a prerequisite, wasn't it? So with this particular model, you've got the big island bed. There's a little bit of compromise getting around the bed in the night position, but we were willing to put up with that compromise. But what Bailey had done, they've taken the lockers away from above the bed, so it means that some of the other models I was looking at with island beds, to get the bikes in, you had to raise the bed up, and then when you got to site, you could take the bikes out and lower the bed down so you could sit up in bed. But we didn't want to leave the bikes out in the rain and potentially getting theft. So with this particular model, because they've taken away the overhead lockers, you can sit up in bed and you haven't got to do this lowering and raising of the bed all the time to get the bikes in and out. So we can put the bikes back in when we're done, and they're away from the rain, they're away from the rusting and the elements, but you can still sit up in bed. So again, compromise, you lose a bit of storage above the bed, but for us, when we were looking at all that, there was a good roller team T-line, I think it was a 740.
Similar garage.
But there's compromises with them all, but this one for us worked
for the majority.
So my advice, or our advice, is just do your research. I wish we'd done it back in 2014. We looked for a few years, didn't we, before this. I spotted this in 2020. I think it came out at the end of 2020. So yeah, that's just a bit of we'll do a tour around the van once we put everything away, and yeah. So then, on to our trip. What were we going to say about that?
Yeah, so we've been motorhoming and caravanning since 2014, so 10 years really around the UK. We've been to France a couple of times with the girls, Ireland. We want to do Scotland. There's loads of stuff we want to do. But this is our first trip for a month away. And it's purposely to celebrate our 30th wedding anniversary, which is the end of the month. The caption for the trip was 5 countries over 4 weeks, celebrating 3 decades with 2 people and 1 motorhome. So that's the caption for the trip. But we're away for 28 days altogether, nearly 30 days, obviously, with the trip down, obviously, for the tunnel before.
Do you want to say about where we're heading? Yeah,
so we're taking the tunnel. Our first stop is after Dunkirk, little pit stop. We're going to Belgium, then down to Luxembourg, down to Switzerland, then down to Lake Como, across to Venice, finishing off with 10 days in Lake Garda. So we'll be filming all that and uploading those videos along the way, just to help others with our experience, and hopefully we can get tips off people and they'll share information. Come along for the ride. Times. So look out for the next video on Adventures in Anth on the YouTube channel, and we'll also have our Insta account, but please like and subscribe and share. Thank you.